My name is Maria Katsikathas, and today I'll be discussing coping, social media, and mental health during the COVID-19 pandemic. This project aimed to examine individual differences in coping styles and correlations between social media usage, perceived loneliness, and risks for depression and anxiety during the COVID-19 pandemic. With previous literature suggesting increased mental health risks during the pandemic and associations with social media use, we developed two hypotheses for this study. First, we hypothesized that perceptions of loneliness and social media behaviors are positively correlated and that they are also positively correlated with depression and anxiety symptoms. Second, we hypothesized that individuals' social media usage, depression symptoms, and anxiety symptoms will be positively correlated with emotion-focused coping strategies and negatively correlated with problem-focused coping. For this study, participants were a convenient sample of 41 Westminster undergraduate students and members of the general public. A 61-item survey was created with Google Forms consisting of psychometrically validated self-report skills to measure coping styles, social media behaviors, and stress associated with social media use, perceived loneliness, depression, and anxiety. Reliability for these scales were between 0.694 and 0.923. Our first hypothesis was partially supported by the data. There was no significant correlation between loneliness and social media attitudes and behaviors. However, loneliness scale scores were positively correlated with both PHQ-9 depression and GAD-7 anxiety scores, and these correlations were statistically significant. Our second hypothesis was also partially supported. Coping styles were uncorrelated with social media attitudes and behaviors. However, depression and anxiety scores were positively correlated with social networking activity intensity scale scores. The results of this study suggest positive correlations between loneliness, social media, depression, and anxiety. There are some limitations to this study, which include sample size and homogeneity reducing generalizability. Another limitation includes low statistical power, specifically possible type 2 errors, which essentially means possible false negatives. Finally, this study design was cross-sectional rather than longitudinal, so it focused on one specific point in time during the pandemic. Despite these limitations, this research has implications for understanding coping styles, loneliness, social media behaviors, and mental health risks. Further research is needed to better understand when and how coping style differences affect loneliness, social media behaviors, and mental health, which could potentially include longitudinal research to further examine these behaviors and factors over time.